Hello, I've beaten and reviewed the entire Mega Man Classic series. That's Mega Man 1 through 11. Now that the dust has settled in my mind, I'd like to share my top 10 favorite boss fights from that series. I know I'm a little bit weird in my video game taste, so I think some people might find this list to be different than what they're expecting. I am considering mid bosses and late game bosses, not just the robot masters, so there may be some surprises in this list. Depending on how you count, there are over 100 bosses in the classic Mega Man series, so let me know down in the comments what your top 10 favorite bosses are from the Mega Man Classic series. With that being said, let's get started. Number 10, the Sliding Room from Mega Man 4. To me, the Sliding Room is so creative and unique, not just within Mega Man, but within the whole genre of 2D action platformers. The room itself is the boss fight, basically. As the pieces of the room slide in and out, Mega Man has to jump inside and get in there and shoot it, and I just found this to be so creative. Also, technically speaking, for a game made on the NES, this is really impressive work, and overall, I just really loved this fight. Skullman, Mega Man 4. Skullman is pleasing to me primarily just visually. I love the way he looks. He's so cool, and when he makes the little skulls float around him as a shield, it's just awesome. He looks kind of like an evil Mega Man, and I just really like this fight because of that. Also, the giant dead robot dinosaur skeleton in the background is really cool. It's also a challenging fight. He shoots in different angles at Mega Man, and you kind of can dodge them, and for people who are skilled players, there's a lot of fun to this fight, especially if you want to use nothing but the Buster. Number 8, the Giant Pumpkin, Mega Man 7. I love the Giant Pumpkin sprite art. It's so pleasing to me, it's so cool, but it's also so creative in that it opens up and you can shoot inside of it. There are some boss fights in the Mega Man series that are big robots that move slowly, and oftentimes I don't like those fights, but in this fight, I actually really liked it. It kind of made the pumpkin just feel heavy and dangerous as it moved around. It's also really cool that when you beat it, it flies up and crashes into the stage to make room for Mega Man to move on. So overall, I just found this to be a really creative and fun and interesting fight. Number 7, the final Wily fight in Mega Man 10. I loved how epic this fight felt, that you are looking down on the earth and you're all the way up in space, and before that how Wily's castle had expanded to show you that there was more. Just the whole setup to this fight was totally awesome, and the fight itself is cool. It's a traditional final Wily fight where he's in these small floating machines that move around, but this one just feels fresh and cool, and the low gravity is also really interesting, and again that visual flair of being in outer space just made this an awesome final Wily fight. It's actually not too difficult, which sometimes I appreciate that when you get to the end of the game, they give you kind of a fight that isn't going to make you tear your hair out. It makes it kind of fun and satisfying to reach this point in the game, or at least that's how I felt. Number 6, Blockman, Mega Man 11. This was actually the first Robot Master I fought when I played through Mega Man 11, and it left a huge impression on me. What's really cool about this fight is that there are 3 phases to it. The first fight is a typical kind of Robot Master fight where he moves around and attacks Mega Man with projectiles. And then in the second phase, he turns into a giant golem. This is really cool and really surprised me. And unlike some of the other giant enemies in the Mega Man series, he doesn't feel slow. He moves with his kicks and his arm swipes really quickly, and it's fun and challenging. And then there's a third phase to this fight where he kind of goes into desperation mode and just starts launching stones at Mega Man. This was really surprising to see 3 distinct phases in a Robot Master fight, and I really liked it. Also, he's just a very cool looking boss. Number 5, the Giant Dragon, Mega Man 2. There are modern action video games today that have a lot of set-piece action moments. I think of Uncharted or maybe even Call of Duty, and I feel like this dragon might be one of the first big set-piece moments in console gaming. The dragon comes out of the darkness and is destroying the platforms, and you have to jump from platform to platform to platform, and then you have to jump up and down to fight him once you get to the end of him destroying all the different platforms. I just thought this was super creative and cool, and again, I think it is historic. If you look at the games that were out at the time, there wasn't a lot of big action set-piece moments in gaming, and this one still really resonates. It looks really cool, the art direction is awesome, the dragon somehow looks kind of cute, like he would make a great plushie, but also menacing at the same time, and I just loved this fight. Number 4, Proto Man, Mega Man 7. I love Proto Man. I think he's one of the coolest characters in gaming. I love how mysterious and cool he is, and I think his appearance in Mega Man 7 is my favorite appearance of him in the entire classic series. In Mega Man 7, you have a chance to find him, and he's hidden in the level, and you get to fight him, and it's a super intense fight. He moves fast, he's dashing, and has strong attacks, and it just feels really intense. There are certain fights within the Mega Man franchise where Mega Man's fighting someone who feels about the same size and speed as Mega Man, and so those fights feel almost like a duel, and this Proto Man fight really does feel like a duel, like two equals battling it out. But one of the coolest things about this fight is that when you beat him, you get to use his shield. You get to keep it after you beat him, and I just found that to be such a cool touch for this game, such a cool Easter egg for fans. It really blew my mind. Even though this game was super old, I actually didn't know that this was in the game until I reviewed it, and it was just so awesome to get that shield and use it. So I just think this Proto Man fight is super cool, and I love that you get the shield after you beat him. Number 3, Gravity Man, Mega Man 5. Mega Man 5 is not my favorite Mega Man game, far from it, but the Gravity Man fight is incredible. It's so creative. You get to go up and down depending on the gravity. You get to charge up your blast and kind of get a timed shot on Gravity Man as you're falling down. It's super creative, and also from a technical standpoint, it's interesting to think of how they did this on an 8-bit console. Again, switching the gravity is tricky, and it's really cool that they did this in such an old game. It's a super creative fight. It's not particularly challenging, but there's just something so satisfying about charging up your shot and landing it on Gravity Man as you're both switching which gravity. If you're going down and he's going up, just landing that shot in the middle there is just super satisfying, and this is a super fun fight. Number 2, the Yellow Devil, Mega Man 1. This fight is iconic. It's incredibly challenging. You really got to memorize it and figure out how to dodge all the bits of slime as he's teleporting himself from one end of the stage to the other. And I just love this fight. I love the way he looks. I love the idea of him falling apart and attacking you with his body parts, then rebuilding himself and attacking you again. It's a super cool fight. We all know about the big glitch with Electman's attack where you can use the lightning to just shock his eye a bunch by pausing and unpausing the game. I didn't do that. I did it the old school way, and I felt really satisfied after I was done. I just love this fight. It's super iconic. It's cool. It's this big, interesting sprite that does something that is still interesting today, that it takes itself apart and rebuilds it. The memorization is hard. You got to remember these patterns or jump over them and get past them. And yeah, I just really love this fight. Before we get to number 1, I will do an honorable mention. I want to mention Proto Man's fights in Mega Man 3. He'll show up randomly in some of the levels and you'll get to fight him. And it's a really cool fight because it feels like he's teaching Mega Man how to use the slide. And especially once you realize later on that he was good, I like to imagine, at least in my own personal lore, that this is Proto Man teaching Mega Man how to use the slide. And I just think that these Proto Man fights are pretty cool. And another honorable mention goes out to Darkman 3 in Mega Man 5. This is a super cool fight. It's fun to do, it's challenging and exciting, but my favorite thing about this fight is that he has an uncanny resemblance to Vile. I'm surprised more people don't talk about this when they discuss Mega Man lore. He's a purple robot like Vile with a shoulder cannon like Vile, and he jumps in the air and shoots attacks down at you like Vile. There's got to be some sort of lore connection, and yeah, I really like Darkman 3 fight in Mega Man 5. Number 1, the yellow-green slime in Mega Man 9. This fight to me is super cool. It's as cool as the Yellow Devil fight, but maybe even cooler. You have these two rotating slimes that are on each side of you, and rather than rebuilding themselves on the other side of you like the Yellow Devil, they're like trading places, and the pattern is super tricky and hard to dodge. And even if you're using the right Robot Master weapon, this fight is just a real challenge, but it's super fun. Also, again, for that lore, it feels like you're in a laboratory where they were maybe showing how Dr. Light built the Yellow Devil, and these are like prototype versions of the Yellow Devil. It's just super cool. Earlier in Mega Man 9, you run into these other kind of slime enemies that you shoot and they explode into other little blinking eye slimes. And I feel like the lore is that, you know, Dr. Wily has been experimenting with different types of slime, Yellow Devil enemies. And I think the yellow-green slime is kind of the pinnacle of that style of boss fight, which I really like. And they just look cool with the bubbles on them and just how slimy and grimy and kind of sinister that they have this kind of sinister appeal to them. So I really like this fight. So that's my top 10 classic Mega Man series boss fights. Probably a little bit different than what you might be expecting. Thanks for watching. Now, I would really appreciate it if you've got your own list of top 10 classic Mega Man boss fights. Comment down below. I'd love to see what you guys come up with. So thanks so much for watching. Give it a like and subscribe if you appreciate the channel's Mega Man content. And have a good day. Thank you.